Good morning and welcome back to Gaming with ADHD. It is Wednesday and we are back for another episode of Diving Deep into Eberron. This is the live stream where Seraphis and I are going to read through, hopefully, the last two chapters. If Seraphis can, I don't know, bother to stay on topic, you know. But as I've already mentioned, I am joined today by my good friend Seraphis. How are you doing today, sir?
This statement was not produced by Chat AI.
This was not produced by Chat AI. Can you prove that?
Can you?
That is a completely fair statement. Anyways, how's your week been going, man?
Oh, creative.
Creative.
Yes.
That's a new word for it.
No, I've been trying to get get the next video done that I've been meaning to do, but it's already Thursday and I don't have a script or anything recorded for it, so...
Script? What's a script?
Well, some people find it a little bit easier to record videos when they know what they're going to be talking about, and so they can hit their targets a little bit better. So you do this thing called typing, and then you type, and then there's words on the screen, and then you can reference the words on the screen when you talk.
That sounds weird. Why would anyone do that? No, I actually totally get that. When I was first getting started, I wouldn't script the whole thing, but I would at least script the intro paragraph. To what?
I was going to say the intro part for mine, the Swaz de la Sera, I am Surface, the Down Under Space Pirate stuff. I've got that down to an art. I don't need that part in my scripts anymore.
Well, no, but like I said, that was at the very, very beginning. And so, over time, now I'm to the point where I don't say it exactly the same way every time, but I've got just kind of a general idea on how I'm going to open it. And so I just start and run with it. But yeah, I do get scripting. I was just making a joke because, I don't script, I don't edit. It's just nope, just record it and throw it on the internet. They will either accept it or mock me, and I'm fully expecting the mockery.
Well, so I mean, considering you've got, almost 2,000 subscribers and I've got 70, I think we know whose method works better.
No, we know who puts out more content.
So you're the AI bot.
Yes, I'm the AI bot. Game Masters brings up a good point. Make it all up as you go along.
That's not true. I know that for a fact. Because someone keeps asking my opinion on his thumbnails. So he doesn't make those up.
He also lies. No, I mean that is actually kind of a good point. Kind of running a YouTube channel is a little bit like being a dungeon master. You gotta kind of take it in stride, go with it. Because that's the other thing is I have found I don't like scripting as much, just because it usually just sounds really stiff and really forced. Whereas if I'm just yes, I can run into a lot of ums, and which Kim absolutely loathes. But it's still one of those where it just feels a bit more natural, and I enjoy that content more, so it's how I want to make it. But anyways, there's that rant. And Seraphis is his go-to authority. Brian makes some interesting life choices.
Even Grimm would oppose that statement.
Oh, well, here we are. So, what are we covering today?
Monsters.
Monsters.
And how to make friends with them.
And how to make friends with them. You know, how to win friends and influence monsters?
Yeah.
I mean, the real question is, do you think we're going to be able to get to the second chapter and cover Eberron campaigns as well?
How about we start with the monsters?
How about we start with the monsters?
I'm all for enthusiasm. I'm just saying. How about we actually tackle this stuff? Because
yeah, how about we actually get through the material before we start planning on covering more material? All right. Well, folks, before we get into it, do make sure hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new here. If you are watching this on the replay, don't forget there is a whole series where we've gone through the entire campaign setting, and we will, we would love to get your comments on that, and if there's some good response. Actually, two things. There's a poll up. Basically it's just a yes or no question. Do you guys want to see more Eberron deep dives? And the next deep dive is not going to be Eberron, but
because I'm fired, that's why.
Yes, Seraphis is fired. He decided to change up his schedule and when the kids are gone, and so he gets fired for that. He didn't approve that with management. So but no, even if
I went rogue like a pirate or something.
Yeah, maybe I just noticed your name on the screen. He's like a real down under space pirate. No, but just because we're finishing up the Eberron deep dive doesn't mean Seraphis won't be around on the channel, So don't worry, folks. He'll be back. So
besides, you're gonna have a cuter guest at some point.
And apparently, Peanut Gallery would like me to point out that one of the upcoming guests is much cuter than Seraphis. So there is that to contend with.
Oh, now I'm interested.
Yeah.
I mean, that leaves it open to literally everyone else on the planet Earth. So,
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. But actually, technically, Peanut Gallery has never been on camera on the channel before.
It's Peanut Gallery?
Yeah, Peanut Gallery and I are going to cover My Little Pony at some, after I do battle. The order, we're doing Eberron. Upcoming is going to be, after we do the adventure is going to be Battletech with my friend Chris. Then My Little Pony with Peanut Gallery. And then after that, we're going to do Mech Warrior First Edition with Max Liao. So that is the schedule for deep dives so far.
You hadn't actually announced that it was going to be Peanut Gallery, right?
I didn't?
No. That's why I was playing dumb.
Oh. I mean, let's be honest. That's at least 3 months from now anyways. So there's that.
3?
The Battletech books are not that. We're just doing the Game of Art, the little books that come out of the box sets.
Yeah.
If I can't do one booklet a month, then I've got a bigger problem. Because there's only 3 of them.
I was like, Game Masters, yes, we are. We will get to it as soon as this starts.
Yeah, because Brian doesn't get distracted ever. Anyhow. All right, let's do this. Let's talk about monsters in Eberron and then hopefully some Eberron campaign stuff. And then we can say that the book is done.
It's always possible.
There's a theory. All right. Hit us
All
off.
right. This chapter presents statistics for several new monsters found on Eberron. Some of these monsters belong to a new creature type, Deathless, which is described below. The chapter concludes by describing campaign-specific niches for several iconic D&D monsters, such as goblins, mind flayers, and rakshasas. As with everything else in this book, these monsters can be used in an Eberron campaign or in any other D&D game. So, the Deathless type. Deathless is a new creature type, describing creatures that have died but returned to a kind of spiritual life. They are similar in many ways to both living creatures and undead. However, while undead represent a mockery of life and a violation of the natural order of life and death, the Deathless merely stave off the inevitability of death to accomplish a righteous purpose. While undead draw their power from the plane of Mabar, the endless night, the Deathless are strongly tied to the plane of Irion, the eternal day, the birthplace of all souls. In fact, the Deathless are little more than disincarnate souls, sometimes wrapped in material flesh, often incorporeal and hardly more substantial than a soul in its purest state. Sorry, that word caught me off guard.
So, real quick, this is kind of interesting. So it says sometimes wrapped in material flesh, often incorporeal, and hardly more substantial than a soul in its purest state. So essentially it's saying there's deathless, essentially anything that you would consider undead. Zombies, ghosts, vampires. What'd you say?
Flesh golem.
Flesh golem, whatever. Basically, like any of them could be reclassified as deathless.
Yeah.
If I'm reading it correctly.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, lore-wise, you would probably add a few more caveats to that, but for a broad stroke of the creature type, without specifically locking it down to purely being Eberron-based, that's a relatively good description of what a Deathless essentially is.
And the reason that I bring it up is because my original assumption was just like the Deathless were like the Arenal elves, like Deathless ancestors. So in my head, they were always just zombies, kind of creatures. So that's where it threw me off a little bit.
Yeah, no, I mean, for the point of Eberron, as we'll get into once we get down to like the ancestors and stuff, the actual lore specific to how you would actually run them, play them, is different to the standard design of what you'd see as the Deathless here. So, yeah.
Got it.
Yep.
All
right. So, we'll run through the features of this new monster type. So, features. Deathless have the following features. 12-sided hit die. Base attack bonus equal to half total hit dice as a wizard. Good will saves. Skill points equal to 4+ intelligence modifier, minimum 1 per hit dice, with quadruple skill points at first level or at first hit die. Traits. Deathless possess the following traits, unless otherwise noted in the creature's entry. No constitution score. Dark vision out to 60 feet. Immunity to poison, sleep effects, paralysis, Stunning, disease, death effects, and mind-affecting spells and abilities, such as charms, compulsions, phantasms, patterns, and morale effects. Not subject to extra damage from critical hits, non-lethal damage, or ability drain. Immune to damage to its physical ability scores, as well as to fatigue and exhaustion effects. Unlike undead, deathless are subject to energy drain. Like living creatures, deathless are harmed by negative energy and healed by positive energy.
So real quick,
Yep.
Just because I want to address this, Brian says no Constitution score is impactful, which it is. But I mean, let's be honest. I mean, they're undead. It's already got all of these abilities where it doesn't get exhausted. You can't put it to sleep. You can't do all of this other stuff that to me are all Constitution related anyways. So to just say, oh, they don't have a Constitution score kind of makes sense. So, and don't forget, they're monsters.
Or they could be monsters, or you could apply them to something that isn't a monster.
I was gonna say, like, giving all the skills and the hit dice kind of sounds like, wait. Can we play them as characters?
Yes. Yes, you can. This is the same kind of lineup you would see if you wanted to, say, play a Aza or a Doppelganger or whatever from the Monster Manual.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Yep.
Here I am thinking I'm being witty, and then Seraphis is like, nope, you're just dumb.
To be fair, I am actually playing in a 3.5 game currently. You're just reading with me this 3.5 material.
I was going to say, I haven't played an actual 3.5 Eberron game since this book came out. I haven't read it since this book came out. So this is like a brand new thing for me.
All right. Immunity to any effect that requires a fortitude save, except for energy drain attacks, unless the effect also works on objects or is harmless. Uses its charisma modifier for concentration checks. Not at risk of death from massive damage, but when reduced to 0 hit points or less, is immediately destroyed. Not affected by raise dead or reincarnate spells or abilities. Resurrection and true resurrection can affect the deathless if they are willing. These spells turn deathless creatures back into the living creatures they were before becoming deathless.
I mean,
evil clerics can turn.
Why would, if you're willing to go through the process to become deathless, wouldn't you have already resigned yourself to like, nope, this is going to be my life now? And instead, I take it back.
Hence the if they are willing.
That's true. That's true. It was just, it's just like, that's a, all right. Anyways, keep going.
Evil clerics can turn or destroy deathless creatures as good clerics turn or destroy undead. Good clerics and paladins can rebuke, command, or bolster deathless creatures as evil clerics rebuke, command, or bolster undead. So basically, good clerics can buff deathless.
Yeah. I mean...
deathless creatures gain the same benefits from Consecrate and Hallow as undead do from Desecrate and Unhallow, and they are hindered by Desecrate and Unhallow as undead are by Consecrate and Hallow. Oh my god, this is just going back and forth and saying the same thing. Hide from undead and undeath to death also work against deathless. Detect undead and Death Watch reveal deathless and allow the caster to distinguish deathless creatures from undead. Evil casters can be stunned by overwhelming auras of deathless creatures, as good casters can be stunned by overwhelming undead auras. Use the evil elemental or undead line in the detect evil spell description when deathless are in the area of a detect goods spell. Deathless are healed by disrupt undead and damaged by unholy water, as undead are damaged by disrupt undead and holy water. Deathless are affected by disrupting weapons.
Hold up. We're going to skip the rest of this paragraph, and I'm just going to say everything that affects undead does the opposite to deathless.
Yes.
And anything that helps undead hurts
You
the
said
deathless.
you wanted me to read through this. If
No,
I'd
no.
known we could have just said that here, I would have just said that there.
Look, you assume I read ahead. I knew exactly look, you were getting frustrated with all the, this is this and this is the opposite of that. And anyways, I'm making an executive decision as we go.
You know what else I get frustrated with?
Me.
Druidic cults.
No, druidic sects. There are no cults, only sects.
I'm not saying that. I refuse to say that anymore. If that comes up, I'm saying cults, not that word. This accent and that word, no. No more. We've had two of these damn deep dives now. I'm done. They're cults now.
I regret nothing.
Of course you don't. Proficient with natural weapons or simple weapons and any weapons mentioned in its entry. Proficient in whatever type of armor it is described as wearing, as well as all lighter types. Deathless not indicated as wearing armor are not proficient with armor. Deathless proficient with shields if they are proficient with any form of armor. Deathless do not breed, eat, or sleep.
Ta-da! The short answer, folks, they're good undead.
Basically. And again, if we could have just said that at the beginning, they're good undead.
Look,
everything that hurts evil undead is good for good undead, and vice versa.
Again, it's a deep dive. We were still going to read through even with having a nice, simple summary. Anyhow. All right. Action points. Monsters normally can't use action points and don't gain action points as they advance in level, even if they have character class or prestige class levels. Action points are typically the purview of player characters and are thus reserved for their use. However, monsters can use action points if they have the heroic spirit feat, which provides a monster with 3 action points to use at every level. The DM should not give a monster this feat without careful consideration, and even then, only if the monster is crucial to the campaign and the storyline. So give it to, like, Lady Vole or, the big bad of your campaign. Give them some action points. Let them have a little bit of a boost during the game because the players are going to have it. All right, damage reduction. Several of the monsters in this section have damage reduction that can only be overcome by weapons made from some of the new special materials detailed in Chapter 6, including Targath and Bieshk. So, all right. So since I didn't read very much and Seraphis is going to be taking the Ascendant Counselor, just so you all understand how we're going to do the monsters. We are not going to read all of the stats. Right now, nobody...
Maths
if you want
is
this...
hard.
No, if you want stats, go get the book. There's a link in the description to Drive Through RPG.
Or just be really quick taking screenshots of like what we've currently got.
Right, or take very, very quick screenshots, correct. But basically, we're going to try and show you off the art. We're going to read the description, and then we're going to pick 1, maybe 2 abilities for the monster so that you get an idea of what they can do. So, anyways, tell us about the Ascendant Counselor there, Seraphis.
Well, they're medium deathless.
What is a deathless?
It's a good undead.
It is it? How do we know the difference between a deathless and a regular undead?
Well, a deathless is affected in positive ways by positive energy, and an undead is affected by negative energy in a good way.
Wait, so are you saying that if I cast like Turn Undead on a Deathless, it would actually come to me instead of run away?
It would.
Okay.
It would say, "Thank you for that buff. May I have another?"
I apologize, folks. I couldn't resist. All right, keep going.
Ascendant Counselors are the most holy, powerful, and revered of the ancient dead of RNL, and their power is nothing short of divine. They are incredibly ancient, some as old as the practice of necromancy on RNL. They rarely inhabit their physical forms, preferring to explore the universe in astral form and return to their bodies only when necessary to speak with the living or defend their resting places. Now, purification, I believe, is one that we wanted to check out. Nothing impure can withstand the touch of an Ascendant Counselor. Any creature struck by an Ascendant Counselor's slam attacks takes strength and charisma damage proportionate to its alignment. Its alignment as follows. Good creatures take no ability damage, and neutral creatures with an evil aura take 1d4
without an evil aura.
Without an evil aura, take 1d4 points of strength and charisma damage. Evil creatures take 2d6 points of strength and charisma damage. A successful DC 29 will save negates the ability damage from a single attack. The save DC is charisma based.
So that I actually think is kind of cool. Like he's gonna punch you in the face, but you decided to play that that chaotic neutral character. You're taking extra damage because not only is it an undead character, it's essentially a wholly undead character, and it's going to burn you for being bad.
Unless you've got something that like sheltered vitality that will protect your stats like that.
Okay, look, there's exceptions to every rule. I'm talking just in a general storyline sense. Like that is something that, well, think about it. Like as a player, okay, you go into this combat and you're like, oh, it's an undead, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to do, wait. Now I'm taking extra damage because he managed to touch me, or, like he comes up and like you're thinking, oh, it's just a regular zombie, but he managed to grab, like, imagine if this thing could grab a hold of you with that ability. I realize that it's pretty simple. If I was running it as a dungeon master, and I had a player with like an evil or a neutral alignment, like, and he managed to do like any kind of a grapple or anything, no, I'm throwing some extra buffs or bonuses or something on the death list for being able to do that. You're not going to be happy.
He has combat reflexes, and his grapple is a plus 23.
So, yeah. Chances of that are high.
Yeah. An Ascendant Counselor grappling you would be a very bad day.
Yeah, right. And like, again, especially if your players are running into it for the first time, they're thinking, oh, it's a zombie or a mummy or whatever. And nope, now you're like, again, being able to like describe and play with that extra damage from the fact that essentially you have this divine, that's what I'm going to call it. It's essentially a divine character, like essentially burning the evil out of you. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Anyhow. All right, so that's the Ascendant Counselor. And next up, we've got the Carcass Crab. This guy over here, he looks like a treat. Huge magical beast.
Surely not from the Mournhold. The Mournland, sorry.
Way to just spoil it, Seraphis.
Well, clearly he's not. He just looks too lovable.
The Carcass Crab is a warped mutation of natural life found in the Mournland and occasionally in Valinor and Dargoon. Though essentially a giant crustacean, it augments its natural armor by attaching the detritus of battle bits of armor, weapons, and bodies to its hard shell with a natural adhesive. This trait provides both protection and camouflage in the wasted battlefields of the Mournland, the creature's preferred hunting ground. Which, like, that's actually the ability I wanted to talk about, was adhesive. A carcass crab uses a natural adhesive to attach pieces of armor, weapons, and whole corpses to its shell. Typically, this grants a crab an armor bonus of +6 to its AC, equivalent to banded mail. But it is possible to find crabs with better or worse protection. A crab incurs no armor check penalty from this protection. Now, normally armor class 23, which they've already figured that +6 in. The thing that I liked about adhesive, I mean, yeah, you got spiny defense and improved grab. Okay, you know, as far as I'm concerned, those are all normal. But what I thought was good was just this statement here. Typically, this grants an armor bonus of +6, but it is possible to find crabs with better or worse protection. Like, so many times, either a player or a GM is just going to be like, oh, this is what it says. But the fact that they're putting in there, hey, maybe it's a younger crab. Maybe it's an older crab. You know, maybe it's a crab like right in the middle of like the last battle in the Mournland. You know, so he's been, you know, sticking stuff to his head, you know, for the last 5 years now. You know, so telling people, hey, do something, mess with the players, do something they're not going to expect. You know, so anyways, I like that.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, you find one that's like an elder, and initially, like, you identify it as a carcass crab, but then, like, it fully emerges out of the ground, kind of like, what was that? Kamatoa from Moana. And it's just this huge, it's already a huge size, but like, it turns out it's now gargantuan size now that it's fully revealed. And its AC score is like +40 because of all the bodies it's just got layered all over it.
Right? Yeah, no, there's a bunch of fun stuff you can do. I mean, you know, Game Master says I'd use adhesive and roll around in a bunch of daggers and increase my attack damage. I mean, like, the next one of the abilities, spiny defense. A carcass crab's shell is covered with sharp spines that protrude from between attached metal and bodies. Combined with spears and swords affixed to its shell, these spines make attacking the creature a hazardous proposition. Creature that hits a carcass crab with a natural weapon or an unarmed attack takes 1d6 points of piercing damage. Haha, I hit you! Ow!
Yeah, and then you go ahead and factor in like the increase of size and all that for a monster from the monster manual, and you know that 1d6 now might be, oh, I don't know. Hold on, let's just have a look. Now that 1d6 might be 10d6 plus what do we got? Attack 10d6 plus 18.
Sure.
And now your players are like, whoa, we've got to fight this thing or we'll die. And you're like, you could also run away.
Yeah, I know.
Live to
You're
fight
probably going
another
to die by attacking this creature.
Yeah. Oh.
Not that it's going to attack you back. No, you're going to make a strike. You're going to hit that spiky bit, and then you're going to get tetanus, and you're dead.
No, not even that. It will just move, and like its reaction is just to like smooch you and just make you now part of its shell and armor and
That's
stuff.
true.
Like,
that's another ability. See, that's the question. How quickly does the adhesive dry?
well, I would say that fixtures probably become. I mean, if it's definitely rolling in the Mournland, I would say that things are probably 100% stuck to it within by 24 hours.
All right. So
That
no, but
dry, hot weather just.
my thought was, like a player attacks it and manages to hit the sticky part. How long does it take to harden the player to the carcass crab?
Oh yeah, I would definitely have it that they've got to make a strength check to pull away from it after
That's fair.
striking it. Yeah.
That's fair.
Oh yeah.
This
Oh,
is great. All right. Dale care.
down here, medium outsiders, don't you know? Oh, look at that lovely fella. He's just kind of like a hideous demonic monkey man. This humanoid figure bears an angelic countenance, but his unworldly beauty is marred by a hideous suit of armor formed from chitin and pulsing muscle, and he carries a whip-like weapon that seems to move on its own accord. Something about the creature seems fundamentally unnatural.
You
The Dark
think?
here are the
You think?
yeah. The Dalkir are the lords of the plane of Zoriat, the realm of madness. A Dalkir's horrible touch causes disease and corruption, and its very presence can trigger madness and confusion. At least 6 Dalkir, possibly more, inhabit Eberron, the surviving commanders of an army that invaded Corvair. They were sealed deep in Kyber and cut off from their home plane. For millennia, the Dalkir have bided their time in the depths of Kyber, waiting for Zoriat to become coterminous once more. The Dalkir are immortal and endlessly patient, and their manner of thinking is almost impossible for mortals, or even other outsiders, to understand. For the Dalkir, destroying worlds appears to be a form of art, and until Zoriat and the material plane are again coterminous, the Dalkir are indulging their other sordid escapades. Some are poets, musicians, or sculptors, although their works are invariably bizarre and alien to human senses. Their preferred canvas is flesh. They are the makers of monsters. Dolgrims, Dolgaunts, Beholders, Mind Flayers, and other hideous aberrations are the legacy of the Dalkir. Living weapons created to destroy life. The subterranean citadel of a Dalkir Lord usually supports a garrison of Dolgrims, Dolgaunt lieutenants, and illithid commanders. Each Dalkir also has its personal creations, reflecting its own aesthetic tastes. One might have a preference for oozes, another breeds psychic vermin, while a third crafts hideous and deadly plants. Their experiments, creating new races by twisting existing creatures into new forms, takes new forms take time and cannot be represented in good terms. A Dalkir can polymorph a creature into something else easily enough. However, creating a new species of monster, such as the Dolgrim, takes years to accomplish. The ancient seals placed by the gatekeepers trap the Dalkir beneath Eberron and keep Zoriat from becoming coterminous. But the Dalkir have not made a concerted effort to destroy the seals. Their motives are inscrutable. Above all things, the Dalkir are the lords of the realm of madness. Insanity and corruption are the currency they deal in.
All right. Am I alone in getting like super strong Slanesh vibes off of this guy?
Slanesh and Zeech. Like, because there's a degree of magic and unknowability, but also like an art form to it as well. I feel like it's both of those.
You know what? Yeah. As soon as you said that, I'm like, no, that's a lot more accurate. It's both.
But you were right. It does have a degree of Slanesh in there.
Right, but it also has a degree of Zinch. I will totally give you that one.
But hold on that second, because here comes the part where you're going to absolutely love. No, it's next page. A Dalkir resembles a perfectly formed athletic human male possessing unearthly beauty. Despite this outward appearance, Dalkir are sexless and do not reproduce. Dalkir speak their own language and can speak and understand the language of any intelligent creature.
So Slanesh.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Go ahead and tell us what ability we're going to talk about, because I'm going to leave it on the picture, because we're talking about a monster. We should see the picture, and zoomed out like this, they can't see the text anyways.
Okay, well, I'm going to name off some of their abilities for combat, but there's one in particular. The last one is the one I'm actually going to talk about.
Okay.
So we've got Aura of Madness, Corrupting Touch. We've got a lot of spell-like abilities. Tentacle Whip, Alien Mind. Basically, you really have a bad time if you try to do any kind of mind-affecting stuff with these guys. And just do not even do any psionics with them. They're no, bad idea. Dalkir immunities, living breastplate, outsider traits, and symbiont mastery. A Dalkir has complete control over any symbionts attached to its body. It maintains full control over the use of each symbiont's special abilities and can attach or detach a symbiont as a full round action. More important, a Dalkir can power the abilities of any symbiont by substituting 5 hit points for 1 point of ability damage. The Dalkir's fast healing ability may offset this hit point damage. So basically, that armor, that tentacle thing around it, potentially that other arm with the augmented flesh and claws, that's probably all symbionts.
Yeah, I mean, when it was talking about how like the whip kind of moves on its own, it's like, okay, I doubt it's like a prehensile tail or anything, just because these things are already weird enough. So, you know.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's not a prehensile tail, but for all intents and purposes, it's a weaponized prehensile tail.
Yeah, no. I'm saying that like to me, absolutely, it is a creature of some kind. It is not the Dalkir itself. You know.
Yeah, the whip is a creature. The breastplate is a creature. Hell, that hair might even be a creature as well.
I mean, the arm is probably a creature at this point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I mean he's kind of cute. So, all right, dinosaurs. No pictures for these, unfortunately. Dinosaurs are widespread on Eberron, particularly in Zendrik, Argonesen, Kabara, and the Talenta Plains. Large varieties wander freely across Zendrik, including both herbivores and carnivores. While the dragons of Argonesen have mostly eliminated the carnivorous varieties from their realm, smaller dinosaurs are the rule in Kabara and the Talenta Plains, including 3 varieties commonly used by halflings as mounts. We've got the clawfoot,
which everyone knows. They're the raptor-looking dudes.
Right. Used as a war mount by the halflings of the Talenta Plains, this flesh-eating dinosaur is a relative of the carver and great carver. Clawfoot dinosaurs are usually trained for war, and even without that training, they can hold their own in combat. In the wild, they are fierce pack hunters, and even when domesticated, they retain most of their predatory instincts. We've got fasteeths, which are the most common mounts of the halflings of the Talenta Plains, chosen and bred for speed. They are too small to carry a human, but can carry a halfling with light gear fairly easily and at a good pace. They are not trained for battle and generally prefer to flee rather than fight, but they can deliver a bite attack if pressed. The bite attack is treated as a secondary attack and adds only 1/2 the fasteeth strength bonus to damage. And then finally, the glidewing. We will come back to the dinosaurs here in a second. Glidewings are large pterosaurs used as flying mounts by the halflings of the Talenta Plains. Glidewings are fishers used to hunting their prey on the wing. They do not generally like to fly into a raging melee on the ground, but are more comfortable in the swoops and dives of aerial combat with other flying creatures or mounts. All right. So, as far as quote unquote normal dinosaurs, I do like that they give us this chart, including where you can find it: Monster Manual 2, or Monster Manual 3, plus the real world scientific name for the dinosaur in question. So, anyways, if you want to know, like, Tyrannosaurus is a sword-toothed titan, or as the dragons call it, the Havharageth.
I love that Seismosaurus personally.
The Seismosaurus. Okay. Thunderherder.
Thunderherder.
Would you hold on? Would you say a Seismosaurus would be a good choice for getting a family of 6 to church on Sunday?
People don't get your Flintstone references, right?
Yeah. It made me laugh, and I thought you would chuckle over it too. I'm very disappointed.
Hey, just be glad I know Flintstones as well.
That's fair. All right, tell us about the Dolgaunt.
This gaunt figure resembles a pale, emaciated hobgoblin. It moves with eerie grace despite its empty eye sockets. Its skin is covered in a layer of writhing cilia, and a mane of longer tendrils surrounds its head. 2 long whip-like tentacles extend from its shoulders. When the Dalkir emerged from Zoriat to conquer Eberron, they captured and transformed many of the world's indigenous creatures to create an army of hideous warriors. Dolgaunts, bred from hobgoblin stock, are cold and efficient killers, often placed in command of groups of chokers, Dolgrins, and other creatures. A Dolgaunt is blind, but can perceive its surroundings through the sensitive cilia that covers its skin. It can also absorb liquids through these tendrils, allowing it to drain the vital fluids out of any creature it touches. A Dolgaunt is about the same size as a hobgoblin, but far leaner and bonier. Almost has a bit of a Wendigo thing going on.
I mean, right?
Oh.
What's concerning me, I realize we'll get there, is right here. Dolgaunt characters. Why would you play this?
Some people just want to see the world burn.
That's fair, but still. Like, I don't think I'm crazy enough to play this. Yeah. No, I am a Dolgaunt at high tea. Yeah.
Also, this is mainly for adding a class to an NPC thing.
No, it says Dolgaunt characters.
Read it.
Most Dolgaunts advance as monks, although a few are clerics dedicated to the cults of the dragon below, or in rare cases to one of the Dark Six. Its favored class is monk.
Yes.
I'm just saying, it kind of implies that you could play a Dolgaunt.
No, you can, absolutely. But I'm saying that is more there for if a dungeon master wanted to make a big bad for their campaign from a Dolgaunt.
That's fair. Like a Dolgaunt that has like shape changed or something, and is like leading a congregation of the Silver Flame, right?
Oh, they would never do that. They more want their Rakshasa.
Look, it was funny and I gave you one. So, all right, what abilities are we talking about?
Let's see. There's a little bit more text. Sorry. Dolgaunts live grim, ascetic lives, spent training for battle, forming monastic cells in the depths of Khyber. They occasionally perform surface errands for their sinister masters or work with the cults of the dragon below. Dolgaunts speak common and undercommon. They have also developed a mode of communication that uses subtle movements of their skin tendrils. This also allows a Dolgaunt to silently communicate with other Dolgaunts within 30 feet. So let's have a look. We've got Vitality Drain, Blind Sight, and Dolgaunt Monk. I guess Vitality Drain. If a Dolgaunt gets hold of an opponent, it can bury into the flesh of its victims and draw out vital fluids using the tendrils that cover its skin. On a successful grapple check, the Dolgaunt deals 1 point of constitution damage in addition to normal damage. And an injured Dolgaunt recovers 2 hit points every time it successfully uses this ability.
Dang. That's rough. It's because you like quality programming, Max.
No one likes this kind of programming. What are you going on about?
I said he likes quality programming. I didn't say this was quality programming.
The implication was there, however.
Anyhow. All right, Dolgrims. This guy. Let's see here.
Isn't he a fun little guy?
This squat, hunchbacked wretch has 4 spindly arms and no head. Forming out of its chest is a twisted visage with 2 squealing mouths. The creature brandishes a morning star, a spear, a crossbow, and a shield in its arms. The Dolgrims are a lesser warrior race created by the Daelkyr during their invasion of Corvair. A Dolgrim is essentially 2 goblins crushed into 1 creature. The average Dolgrim stands 3.5 feet tall and weighs 55 pounds. Heavier than a goblin of similar size due to the musculature that supports the upper arms. That and the fact that, let's be honest, it's 2 goblins in 1, so of course it's going to weigh more. The skin of the Dolgrim is oily and white, but warriors often tattoo their skin with garish colors or disturbing images. A Dolgrim may tattoo additional faces on its body each time it slays an opponent, in the belief that doing this traps the soul and energy of the fallen foe. Dolgrims typically wear dark leather and drab gray clothes. The Dolgrim has 2 brains fused into a single mass. Although it has but a single personality, the dominant brain's personality takes control of the weaker brain's personality shortly after the creature is born. A Dolgrim will often converse with itself as though carrying on a two-way conversation. Dolgrims speak Undercommon. Dolgrims with an intelligence score of 12 or higher also speak Common. Dolgrims are raised in a brutal martial environment, and most become warriors. They are bred for fear, to fear and obey Daelkyr and Dolgaunts, and are occasionally sent to aid cults of the dragon below. Some Dolgrim bands find their way into civilized areas where they prey on travelers or farmers.
I don't know why it needs to be pointed out that they carry on conversations with themselves. I mean, I can do that. Pretty sure you can do that.
If you've got 2 mouths, who's to stop you?
Exactly. Pretty sure that makes it work even better.
Like, actually, if you ask me, that would actually be kind of funny as a dungeon master to describe it. Like, okay, so the players come across this creature, and it appears to be talking to itself, but like each half of the conversation comes out of a different mouth. And you like emphasize that in your description.
Yeah, like doing a high pitch for one and then a lower pitch for the other one.
Right.
Using the same voice.
Right. Right. But then point out, it's like, oh, the higher pitched voice comes from the top, Oh, that's funny.
And there's Max going front hole and back hole.
Yeah. All right. For its ability, Dual Consciousness, a Dolgrim has 2 brains coordinating its attacks. In addition to providing a +2 bonus on will saves, the dual brain enables a Dolgrim to make attacks with 1 offhand weapon at no penalty. I mean, I guess. I mean, I was thinking. I mean, it said that like the second brain was essentially subsumed, by the other one. But I mean, I guess that would make like it's not technically gone. I don't know. These are weird little dudes.
I probably would have gone the route of, I mean, the will save makes sense, but like making it immune to certain kinds of psionics as well, or certain kind of charms, because there's two brains there. There's not. Or,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
that would actually let's look. Yeah, it doesn't even say special qualities: damage reduction, dark vision, dual consciousness. Will save of +3, I guess. Low intelligence and wisdom, though.
I mean, it's still two goblins smashed together, as they said.
Yeah, but I mean,
Not even three goblins in a trench coat, so you know.
Or two goblins in the same pair of pants. Yeah, no, I like the idea. Actually, no, you know what? I wouldn't make it resistant to psionic attacks because again, it's intelligent.
No. Some types.
No, what I would say is like make it. I wouldn't make it immune. I would just make it more difficult. Like your target number for doing XYZ, psionic or mental based thing has like a +2 difficulty or a +3 difficulty because you're trying to figure out which brain to target. You targeted the small brain. That didn't really have as much effect.
Or if you target the main brain, like the subservient brain still has some control, so it might try to be resisting your actions. So there's aspects like that of playing around with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically, as a low level thing, this has a lot of fun it could do. Basically,
well, and a lot of good things that you can do that I don't think they necessarily thought about. Because it's got a will save of +3, which is usually used against like psionic and mental type stuff. Which, I mean, that's not a bad bonus, but it's not great. I mean, let's be honest. Essentially, it's like I said, it's two goblins in the same pair of pants. So, look at this. Look, I mean,
no.
arms, two goblins, one pair of pants.
No. I thoroughly agree. I hate that I didn't think of that first.
That's fair. No, but my point is, I think you could definitely do some fun things with these, that aren't necessarily written down in the rules. If you want to come up with stuff to mess with your players, like actually, I read a really interesting post from Sandy Peterson the other day. He's the guy that created Call of Cthulhu.
I know who Peterson is.
You know, I also figured I should say it just in case someone watching didn't know. But he actually brought up a good point that like basic abilities, okay? Like trolls are vulnerable to fire.
Yep.
Okay. Well, he's like, no, that would be common knowledge. Why would you have to make a lore check to figure out that trolls are vulnerable to fire? You're in a fantasy setting. Trolls exist, or there are legends of trolls, whatever. But we as humans are storytelling creatures. Even in fantasy settings, like they always talk about like the stories of the elves or the stories of the dwarves, again, emphasizing that storytelling creature. So
if you don't have bards, you at least have minstrels in a fantasy setting.
Right. And so the point that he was making is that, say 100 years ago, and I'm just making up a number, he didn't actually say that part, but somebody figured out, wait a second, if I stick the troll with my torch, he really doesn't like it and it hurts him more. And he is going to tell everyone he knows, And that knowledge is going to get shared around. So the common abilities would absolutely be known. All of the stuff that we have in this stat block would be known. Okay. But again, there's some fun stuff you can do with your players by it's like, okay, here's all the normal stuff. Yeah, the players already read the monster section of the campaign setting. Oh, yeah, by the way, here's some abilities you didn't know about because they're not very common. So, anyways, go ahead.
I have one counterpoint to that. We are specifically talking about Dalkir in this section, who almost entirely reside in Khyber. So they would be more exotic creatures rather than your more common land-based creatures that people would commonly tell stories about.
And that's fair, but I like his whole point was more about, the players are going to read the book. You're not going to keep anything secret from them. So let them know about the stuff in the book.
Yeah.
But then do other things. Oh, these Dolgrim, were formed near lavas. Oh, so they actually have fire resistance or so. I mean, again, the things that you can just make up, use the regular stats.
The DMG, dude.
Well, look. Anyways, it was a good point, and I figured I'd bring it up.
Okay, well, that kind of customization is talked about in the 3.5 DMG.
But look, the point was we came up with some fun ideas, and so I wanted to tell that story. That's all. Why you got to poop on my parade?
Because I wanted to clarify, not just for you, but also dunk on the 5Eers that all that stuff was in the 3.5 DMG. Literally spelling it all out, giving you charts for it and everything.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. So
could you imagine a Dungeon Master's guide giving a Dungeon Master a guide for creating things, modifying things?
That's true. All right. Dolgrim characters. It is rare for a Dolgrim to develop skills beyond those of a first level warrior, but exceptional Dolgrims may become adepts, fighters, or rogues. Dolgrim adepts follow the dragon below and possess the madness or dragon below domain.
Well,
anyways, so there's a little bit about that. All right.
Adepts are a NPC class.
Got it. Yeah. All right. Tell us about dusk hags.
Well, they're hags and they're dusky.
They're
job. Also medium monstrous humanoids.
This is why I brought him in, folks. He gives us the quality commentary.
A gnarled crone with shriveled skin and tangled grey hair moves with unnatural strength and speed. Her eyes burn like hot coals. For reasons unknown, some night hags give birth to a cursed offspring known as dusk hags. A dusk hag is physically weaker than a night hag, but possesses the ability to see visions of the future in her own dreams. Like night hags, dusk hags have a special connection to the world of dreams. Dusk hags can influence the dreams of others, sending messages or causing nightmares with a touch. Tales persist of brave knights and heroic princes performing quests for a dusk hag in exchange for hidden knowledge, and a dusk hag will usually honor such agreements. However, the information gained from a dusk hag often has a way of causing more pain than joy, for her visions can be easily misinterpreted. A dusk hag is about the same height and weight as an elderly female human, but has orange and grey skin, the texture of weathered parchment. Dusk hags speak common, giant, and infernal.
Okay.
They have nightmare touch, immunities, insight, skills. I would say... What do you think? Nightmare touch or insight?
Yeah, nightmare touch is... do nightmare touch. Because it's a combat-based one. Things you can use against your players.
Yeah, but insight you can use anytime.
That's fair.
With a successful touch attack, a dusk hag can plague an enemy with a night of troubled sleep. Unless the victim succeeds on a DC 16 will save, he suffers the effect of the nightmare spell when he attempts to sleep. The save DC is charisma based, and the Dusk Hag applies a +2 bonus to it because of her ability Focus Feat. And I will just quickly point out insight. When a Dusk Hag dreams, she occasionally and inexplicably gains flashes of insight about past, present, and future events. This ability cannot be controlled and serves as a plot device. So you can use this in many different kinds of ways, however the hell you want. That's them giving you just like carte blanche to just go nuts.
Well, and I was actually just looking, and I mean, these are straight up neutral creatures. I was expecting them to be like evil or something. So
no, they're neutral.
Yeah, no, that's what I just looked at. Yeah, you could have some this is definitely would be interesting for an NPC. So, especially like combine insight and nightmare touch. You could mess with players. Great.
Oh yes. I know.
All right, homunculus. A homunculus is a construct a homunculus is a construct servant created by a wizard or an artificer. Like the homunculus described in the monster manual, the creatures presented here are tools designed to carry out assigned tasks. Each one is specialized for a certain kind of task, from melee combat to communication. All homunculi are essentially extensions of their creators, sharing the same alignment and basic nature. They are telepathically linked to their creators. A homunculus knows what its creator knows and can convey to its creator everything it sees and hears, out to a distance of 1,500 feet. A homunculus never travels beyond this distance willingly, though it can be moved forcefully. All right, so combat, construction, combat, blah, blah, blah. All right, so we've got the dedicated right. Is a homunculus created to carry out the process of item creation on behalf of its master. Unlike most homunculi, a dedicated right does not go out on missions or accompany its master on adventures. Instead, it stays home working while its master adventures. Oh, that's what you need.
Yes, I just need 5 seconds to make one. Or 1,000,000.
Look, maybe your campaign will get to that point sometime in, 2083.
No, it should be probably in about 2 months.
No, we'll still be on the boss battle at that time.
Things. I swear.
Well, I'm gonna zip through these kind of quick. Expeditious messenger.
This is my bread and butter. At least let me have a little bit of fun here.
All right, you know what? How about you take over this one? So, okay, so we've got the dedicated right. We got this little guy.
Okay, dedicated right. His special ability is item creation. Basically, he can take over creating items, magic items for you. As long as you have the feats for it, he can then do it for you. That's awesome.
So essentially, he has all the feats you have.
Item creation feats, yeah.
Sure.
Expedious Messenger has the message ability. Also, this little dude can be sent out. Where is it? Give me a second. It's like 1.5. Oh no, here it is. Its reach is 1 mile naturally, so it can be sent out 1 mile rather than 1,500 feet like the other limitation is. So that's cool, and you can see through its sensors at will within 1 mile. So the Expedious Messenger is basically a spy satellite that you can talk to other people through.
Nice.
Yep. Furtive Filcher. If you want something invisible that can steal everything, that's your man.
Mage hand, but humanoid.
Yes. Just give him a belt with like the belt with just give him a belt that's the belt of many pockets, and this little guy will steal everything for you, and then you're just golden.
Okay.
Yep. And lastly, the Iron Defender. It's protection. What do you want? It's protection.
It's kind of in the name.
Yeah. Another way to look at it is that Expedious Messengers are Laserbeak and Iron Defenders are Ravage. for
Oh.
those Transformers out there, fans. So yeah. And
Makes...
once we get to Magic of Eberron, I can point out who the I can point out who Rumble and Frenzy are.
All right. Horrid Animals, the Gatekeepers, a militant sect of druids, created the first horrid animals to defend Corvair against incursions from the nightmare plane of Zoriat. The druids took various dire animals and magically altered them to create new animal species that breed true. Horrid animals are dire animals that have been reshaped and bred for battle, although gatekeepers continue to use horrid animals as companions and sentinels. While wild horrid animals are common in the western wilderness of Corvair, primarily in the Shadow Marches, the Eldine Reaches, the Demon Wastes, and Droam. So essentially, it's a layer that you're going to put over top another animal. So, like, following example uses a dire ape as the base creature, or a rat. Let's see. Combat. A horrid ape lunges at prey with its acid-dripping claws, looking to rend its victims to pieces in short order. So acidic attack, ill-tempered, improved natural healing, and rend. Okay. It doesn't really give like a... Oh, creating a horrid animal. There we go. That's what I wanted to see. Horrid animal is an inherited template that can be added to any dire animal. A horrid animal uses all the base creature statistics and abilities except as noted here. Armor class. Bony and chitinous plates cover the horrid animal's body, but giving it an armored appearance and improving its natural armor bonus to AC by +5. Special attacks. A horrid animal retains all of the special attacks of the base creature and gains the following. Acidic attack. Special qualities. A horrid animal retains all special qualities of the base creature and gains the following qualities. Ill-tempered. Let's see. So basically, it's harder to control. Immunity to acid. Improved natural healing. It has a +4 to Constitution. Gains improved natural attack as a bonus feat. And +1 to the challenge rating. So basically... like, take a dire animal and give it acid attacks and more armor.
Or go to the monster manuals, go to the first monster manual, get the dire template, go to any animal, go to any beast, apply that, and then apply this. And then you can have any kind of combination of horrid animals that you want.
It's like Direception.
Oh, yeah. Again, look at all the things you could do back in 3rd edition. Isn't it weird? They gave you the ability to create monsters yourselves. You didn't have to wait for them to come out with one. So, Valinar riding horses. They're a large animal. This fine horse is majestically tall and deservedly proud. Its lush coat is white on the belly, tan on the back, and brown and dark brown on the sides, almost suggesting the coloration of an antelope. The fastest horses in Corvair, Valinar riding horses, are bred by the elves of Valinar. A Valinar horse not trained for war does not normally use its hoofs attacks. If hoof attack is treated as a secondary attack, adds carrying capacity. Yep. Okay. Well, that was quick. Do you want me to do inspired?
If you want to.
Okay, inspired. Sukori Kurai Spirit. My god, that's a lot of things. So it's a Sukori Kurai Spirit, anyway. A tall, slender figure of otherworldly beauty and grace stands before you, her violet eyes sparkling with a fierce inner light. The figure appears at once delicate and impervious, dressed in an elaborate headdress that holds a veritable waterfall of indigo hair, and a robe covered with a twisting pattern of blue and purple paths. The inspired are specifically bred humans who have willingly surrendered their bodies to nightmarish creatures called Korai. Described later in the chapter. When a Korai spirit possesses a human vessel, it submerges the human spirit and takes complete control of the consciousness. When the human vessel dies or is destroyed, the Korai spirit, unharmed, returns to its home plane of Dalcor until it can inhabit another suitable vessel. Just like cattle. The Korai originally had trouble projecting their minds into the material plane, unwilling to permanently join with a human host as the Kalashtar did. The Korai saw another solution. That solution was to use controlled breeding and psionic manipulation to spawn highly evolved Rydran humans tinged with elf and fiendish blood. These perfect Korai vessels possesses otherworldly beauty and a penchant for cruelty. So, just humans from Earth. Unpossessed hosts, known as empty vessels, train hard for the day that they receive their Korai spirits. The statistics provided define a typical inspired or fourth level scion telepath with a Korai spirit. Other vessel and Korai types are possible. While Korai prefer to fill inspired vessels and needed such vessels to originally project to Eberron, they have developed the ability to possess any willing human. An inspired vessel is taller than the average human, but lightly built, with large almond eyes, shaped eyes that vary in color. Common colors are black, viridian, or violet, although the eyes change color with the mood of the individual. All inspired have pale skin and straight hair that ranges in color from jet black to deep blue or green. By human standards, most inspired are strikingly handsome or beautiful, and they possess an unnatural charm and a commanding aura that helps them influence others. Most wear their hair long, and they favor ornate clothing and decorations. All inspired speak Common Rajan Korai. For more information, yada yada. Ugh. Okay, combat. Yep. The inspired would rather let others fight on their behalf. Schemers and masterminds, they use their sonic powers to manipulate others from the shadows instead of on the field of battle. Even the inspired who are trained for battle strike with swift precision to minimize the likelihood of an enemy gaining the upper hand. So they've got psionic abilities, and the dual spirit trait, which is just a lot of stuff. And they're naturally psionic. We have also got the stats for an empty vessel as a character as well.
Okay. Let's see. All right. Let's see. The Inspired, real quick. The Inspired are not suitable as player characters. Players who want a character with ties to Dalcor should play a Kalashtar, a distinct species created from the merging of Korai and humans 1,800 years ago. I mean, I guess what's the difference then? I mean, the Kalashtar, I guess, bred true.
Basically.
I mean,
essentially, I think what they're getting at is like inspired are evil creatures. They wouldn't normally be the right choice in a normal game.
That's true.
And also the Kalashtar spirits are probably from the Dreaming Light, so there's that aspect of it too.
Right. Okay, that's fair. All right, Carnathi skeletons. A skeleton clad in a fine breastplate and clutching two scimitars strides fearlessly into battle, its eyes gleaming with malice. A Carnathy skeleton resembles an ordinary human skeleton wearing a masterwork breastplate. However, it has been imbued with malign intelligence, and its bones have been treated alchemically to make them more resilient. Carnathy skeletons are created from the remains of elite Carnathy soldiers slain in battle. In the early years of the last war, they were few in number and fought alongside Carnath's living soldiers. But their numbers increased as the war progressed, to the point where entire divisions composed of Carnathy skeletons and Carnath zombies could be mobilized. Carnathy skeletons speak common in an airy whisper. Unlike mindless skeletons, Carnathy skeletons fight intelligently, using tactics such as flanking, aiding another, and fighting defensively. They fight fearlessly until destroyed. Carnathy skeleton archers carry a composite longbow plus two strength bonus, in addition to their dual scimitars, and have the point-blank shot feat instead of the 2-weapon defense feat. All right, and I'll do the zombie as well. Carnathy zombie resembles an ordinary human zombie wearing half-plate armor and carrying a light steel shield and a masterwork longsword. However, it has been imbued with evil intelligence, and its desiccated flesh has been treated alchemically to make it more resilient. The dreadful stench typically heralds the arrival of one or more of these creatures. Carnathy zombies are created from the remains of elite Carnathy soldiers slain in battle. Basically saying the same thing. So, well, I have a zombie and a skeleton. Like, if you could make a zombie, why make a skeleton? He seems like literally the exact same thing.
Different ways of putting them together. Zombies are reanimated corpses from the battlefield. The Carnathy skeletons were the original dead that they used to create the skeletal armies.
Right, but I'm just like, I mean, I guess, but like everything. I mean, they've got different stats if you look into the actual details. It's just
like it's basically the difference between shock troopers and standard infantry is basically the difference between them.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right. Tell us about living spells.
Well, they're spells that came alive.
I'm gonna stab you.
One of the devastating catastrophes blamed for the utter destruction of the Mournland is the appearance of living spells. For reasons unknown, in the magical mayhem of the war, spell effects occasionally took on sentience and refused to dissipate. These living spells still haunt the Mournland and other smaller areas of land blasted by the last war. Apparently subsisting on ambient magical energy, they seem to kill only for pleasure, not out of any need to feed. A living spell appears much like a normal spell effect, except that, even in the case of an instantaneous spell, such as a fireball, the magical energy lingers, writhing and moving with a definite purpose. So basically, they provide samples of different living spells, Burning Hands, Cloud Kill, and then we've got creating a living spell. Living spell is an unusual template that is applied to an arcane or divine spell effect, which that right there is a little bit different of how we would normally use a template, because normally you don't apply them to a spell. And not to a creature. The characteristics of a living spell are determined by the nature of the spell, including the caster level of the spell. The template can be applied to any spells that create an area or effect, but not a spell whose effect is already a creature. So it can't do a summon monster, basically, or a gate. Probably not a gate, at least. Yeah. A living spell composed of more than one spell uses the same caster level for its spell effects. Which, that idea is horrific. I mean, for crying out loud, a living spell that's simultaneously an orb of acid, fire, cold, electricity, and sonic and force.
Yes.
That would be horrific.
I think you're getting a little ridiculous there, but no, I mean, I like the fact that you can mix them is kind of interesting.
Oh yeah.
So, anyway, so there's the template on that.
Oh, special effects. So spell effect. A creature hit by a living spell's slam attack is subjected to the normal effect of the spell or spells making up the creature. So if you had a living spell of, say, prismatic spray.
Well, so I mean, it's actually kind of interesting as like reading through, and I'm trying to I'm ADD hitting a little bit right now. But basically, I mean, these so I was thinking about this as we were coming out because I knew about the living spells, I just hadn't ever read the details.
Yep.
But essentially, it's like the key is right here. It's an ooze. I was trying to think like, how do they actually make a living spell? It's like, oh, well, it's like Ghostbusters. It's the ectoplasm coming off of the ghost that has been animated. And so if you get hit with this slime attack, you're going to take the effect. So because I was also thinking, I'm like, well, how would you do like a living fireball? Okay, well, it's an ooze that's going to do fire damage if you get hit with it. Okay, I can follow that. So, anyways, it's actually a lot simpler and way less complicated than I was assuming it would be.
Oh yeah, I had no doubt. I just think it's really interesting as well.
Yeah, no, I think there could be a lot of fun with it.
Yep.
All right, mage-bred animals. The widespread use of magic on Eberron has led to the development of magical enhancements to animal breeding, particularly within House Vidalis. Some experiments in that direction have created new creatures that are actually magical beasts with unusual intelligence and supernatural or spell-like abilities. In general, however, the aim of these breeding programs is simply to create better animals, ones that are more suited for use in the work of daily life. These magically enhanced animals are called mage-bred. A mage-bred animal looks essentially like a fine specimen, including a fine specimen of its kind. Sometimes one may display unusual coloration, including colors rarely found in nature. It's a blue-haired weirdo. Its appearance is always slightly exaggerated, emphasizing the feature for which it was bred. A horse mage-bred for pulling loads has exceptionally large shoulder muscles, for example, while a dog mage-bred for tracking has a particularly long nose. Then we've got a sample. Mage-bred animal is an inherited template that can be applied to any living animal. It uses the base creature statistics and special abilities, except as noted here. Bonus armor class, few special abilities such as excellent learner, swift breed, thick-skinned, or tracking. So it looks like you can pick one of those. Oh, excellent learner plus one of the others, swift, thick-skinned, or tracking.
But what would happen if you say had a mage-bred tiger? Let's say even two of them, right? And you became king, and then you had a bratty child that kept provoking them.
I would feed my child to the tigers, as is their right. I mean, as a good parent, I'm not bringing the wild animals around my children anyways. But if my child is going to be harassing the wild animals, they get what they deserve.
No. They're your bodyguards by your throne when you're sitting and taking counsel. If your child is dumb enough to go into that situation and then provoke when your animals are, meant to be on guard.
So if I'm sitting on the throne taking counsel, first off, there's already bigger problems. Never mind. That joke's not going to land. Tell us about the Korai.
Is it because you've been to England and I haven't?
No.
No. Okay.
We'll see if chat picks up on it.
I'll tell you about the Korai. They're dream spirits. They suck. There you go. Okay, the plane of Dalcor is home to a host of creatures called the Korai, living embodiments of dream and nightmare. Korai are the masters of the dreaming dark and survive on the material plane by inhabiting specially prepared human vessels called the Inspired. The Sukari Korai, presented here, is one of the more common kinds of Korai. Additional kinds may appear in future Eberron products. Oh, they do. Including the masters. Oh, Jesus. Okay, Korai subtype. Did you want me to go through this?
No, I mean, okay. Korai is a subtype of the outsider type. It refers to the native of the plane of Dalcor.
Yep.
Okay, so it's a specific outsider.
Yeah, it's just specifying an outsider.
Yeah.
For the sake of certain turning and expelling, banishing, abilities.
Okay, makes sense.
Mainly for stuff that we covered back in, 2002. When we were talking about things like possession in the game, and there was stuff about demons, but also Korai, because Korai can possess people too.
True.
Yeah. Funny that. Anyway, so the Sukari Korai, medium outsider, evil, extraplanar, lawful, psionic, and Korai. That's just a lot. I feel like that was too much. Look at that guy.
Arms.
Huh?
He's got like 8 arms.
Yeah, that you can see. Remember, he's formed from a nightmare, so there's probably more.
That's fair. It's the unseen ones that you got to worry about.
For everyone you can see, there's at least 2 that you can't. A nightmarish creature slithers towards you. Its headless torso is covered with eyes and twitching limbs. 2 massive arms sprout from the top of the torso, ending in powerful pincers. The creature is covered with plates of black chitin, and its serpentine tail sports a vicious stinger. Sakuras are among the weakest of the most numerous Korai of Dalcor. Is it funny that they're the weakest because they're physically powerful? When they are not serving in the great cities of their nightmare realm, they hunt the dreaming spirits of mortals. Most Korais are cruel and calculating. They enjoy having power over others and concoct elaborate schemes to advance their own positions and discredit their rivals. A Sakura stands about 5 feet tall, although its long serpentine body makes it seem larger. Sakuras speak Common, Ryadran, and Korai. Sakuras prefer to fight from a position of power. If caught by surprise, a Sakura may flee a battle it could easily win, returning after analyzing the situation and devising a plan of attack. A Sakura uses its mental powers to sow chaos and confusion, but its goal is always to get close enough to use its deadly tail sting, which takes advantage of the primal fears of a victim. A Sakura's natural weapons are considered evil aligned and lawful aligned for the purposes of overcoming damage reduction. So basically, this thing is like a wraith from Stargate Atlantis. It'll mind bugger you so it can get up close to you and then yeah.
Well, I'm like, I missed that you said Stargate Atlantis. I'm like, Wraith. What? Which ones are those?
The space vampires.
Yeah,
They're the
no, I remember now. It took me a minute.
Yeah, I think the one to go with is the terrifying sting. A Sakura Korai's stinger conjures up the worst fears of any creature it strikes. The effects of the stinger are identical to a phantasmal killer spell. On a successful sting attack, the victim must make a DC 18 will save. If the will save succeeds, the victim overcomes her fear and suffers no additional effect. If the will save fails, the victim must succeed on a DC 18 fortitude save or die of fright. Even if the fortitude save succeeds, the victim still takes 3d6 points of damage because they were stuck by a stinger. This is a mind-affecting fear effect. The saving throw DC is charisma based and includes the +2 bonus for the Korai's ability focus feat. When it slays a victim with this attack, a Sakura immediately heals 3d6 points of damage as it draws energy from the terror of its slain opponent. So
Nice.
it's not enough that it can potentially kill you with your own nightmares as it strikes you, but if it does, it gets to heal itself.
Yeah. I am stronger because you're scared of sleeping. That's actually kind of awesome. All right. Rakshasa Zakya, which is that guy.
Yep.
The Rakshasa described in the monster manual is but one variety of a fiendish race that dominated Eberron for hundreds of thousands of years in ancient times. Spawned from the blood of Kyber, the dragon below, the Rakshasa race includes not only the sorcerers of the monster manual and the nearly divine Rajas imprisoned by the Quaddles at the end of the Age of Demons, but also a race of warriors, the Zakyas. A Zakya can twist its backwards hands, enabling it to wield weapons normally. Like other Rakshasas, a Zakya is about the same height and weight as a human. Zakyas speak common, infernal, and uncommon. Unlike other Rakshasas, Zakyas enjoy combat and plunge into melee with relish. They are accomplished fighters and masters of their chosen weapons. They supplement their martial skill with limited spell-like abilities useful for weakening their enemies. Let's see. Change shape. A Zakya can assume any humanoid form or revert to its own form as a standard action. In humanoid form, the Zakya loses its claw and bite attacks. A Zakya remains in one form until it chooses to assume a new one. A change in form cannot be dispelled, but a Zakya reverts to its natural form when killed. A true seeing spell reveals its natural form.
Although then again, all Rakshasa possess the shape-changing ability, so
got it.
Yeah.
So, but short answer, it's a cat person. It's a cat person.
It's a cat person demon that loves to physically fight you.
Yes, that's what I was going for.
Yeah.
All right, symbionts.
Oh my god, Venom.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, this is all the Dalkir stuff.
Yes, and there's more of them. But can you believe there's more? There's so many more.
All right. Oh my gosh. I don't think we're going to get to the campaign. All right. Start going.
Who could have ever seen that coming?
Shut up.
Symbionts are complete creatures. Okay, sure. Generally capable of surviving apart from a host creature for at least some length of time. They are generally tiny or smaller and physically very weak on their own. They survive by joining with a host creature, usually granting the host certain benefits in exchange for the protection afforded by a larger body. This symbiotic relationship usually benefits both parties, though in some cases the symbiont might better be described as a parasite. A symbiont occupies part of the host creature's body, sometimes, but not always, limiting the number of magic items the host can use in the same way as a magic item does. Like intelligent magic items, symbionts have ego scores, which reflect their strength of will and drive for power. Symbionts with high ego scores, like magic items of similar sort, can sometimes take control of their host creatures. The ego score of a symbiont is determined in the same way as that of an intelligent magic item, and listed with each symbiont's entry is the abilities line. In there, you know what I'm saying. Add the symbiont's intelligence, wisdom, and charisma bonus, if any, to determine its base ego score. Add 1 for each special ability and 2 for each special attack. Add 4 if the symbiont is an outsider. For example, a living breastplate has a base ego score of 4, 2 from its 14 wisdom and 2 from its 14 charisma, plus 1 for its damage reduction special quality, 1 for its enhanced constitution special quality, 1 for its light fortification special quality, 1 for its ability to stabilize host, and 1 for its telepathic ability, for a total ego of 9. Evil and orderly, it pairs perfectly with the typical Dalkia. My god, it's still going. If the host creature does not share the symbiont's alignment and goals, a conflict results between the symbiont and the host creature. Similarly, a symbiont with an ego score of 20 or higher always considers itself superior to its host, and a personality conflict results if the host does not always agree with the symbiont. When a personality conflict occurs, the host must make a will saving throw. If the host creature succeeds, it is dominant. If the host fails, the symbiont is dominant. Dominance lasts for 1 day or until a critical situation occurs, such as a major battle, etc., etc. Should a symbiont gain dominance, it directly controls the host creature's actions until the host regains dominance. For more information on ego conflicts, see items against characters on page 271 of the DMG. And now we've got a bunch of traits and living.
Yeah, we can skip a lot of that, but I mean, from a play perspective, this could get interesting.
Yeah.
You know.
But did you notice that part before though?
Which one?
Well, up here.
Should a symbiont gain dominance?
No. So essentially, in the main first starting paragraph, it pointed out that basically you can create them by reflavoring intelligent magic items, which you can create in the DMG.
Sure.
So if you, for example, had graft symbiotes as a magic as an item creation feat, you could potentially make a case for being able to craft symbionts.
Ooh. That could get weird.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So let's skip a lot. All right. Living breastplate, tentacle whip, anyways, all sorts of things, and you can make up more.
Don't you want to talk about the tongue worm?
All right. And we're moving on to the Undying Counselor. Undying Counselors make up the bulk of the Elven Undying Court, a sort of council of elders who advise and assist the elf nation of Erenel, all of whom happen to be long dead. Similar in some ways to undead mummies, Undying Counselors are the well-preserved corpses of ancient elves, still animated by their benevolent spirits. They spend much time in a sleep-like state in which their spirits wander the planes via astral projection, but return to full wakefulness when needed or threatened. Undying Counselors possess unnatural strength and useful spell-like abilities for defending their resting places from intruders. They prefer to parley rather than fight, but attack would-be tomb robbers without hesitation or mercy. So, cleansing. Evil creatures hit by an Undying Counselor slam attack must make a DC 19 Fortitude save or contract an affliction called cleansing. This is a curse and not a disease, so it affects creatures normally immune to disease, but non-evil creatures are unaffected by it. In all other ways, the affliction functions as a disease. Incubation period 1 minute. damage, 1d6 dex, and 1d6 charisma. Wow. The ability damage continues daily until the victim is cured. To eliminate the cleansing, the curse must first be broken with a break enchantment or remove curse, after which remove disease ends the progress of the curse. Dang. So it's a good mummy who is going to mess you up.
Well, then don't get on its bad side. Just leave the mummy alone. It's a good mummy, after all. It's not like you can't be like, oh, sorry, didn't realize you were here. Can I just leave? Like, they'd be like, yes, please leave. And then you leave. And then no one has to suffer from, what was that called? Consecration? No, cleansing. No one has to be cleansed. Which, let's be fair, that sounds like something the Silver Flame would do.
That's true. All right, tell us about the Undying Soldier.
An undead elf armed for war stands before you. It wears a fine breastplate and helm, and it carries a short spear and heavy shield. It must be something other than a zombie, for it has a definite spark of intelligence in its eyes. Undying soldiers make up the army of Aranos, City of the Dead. They superficially resemble zombies, though they are reasonably well preserved and move at a normal speed. The elves' respect for the dead shines forth in the quality of arms and armor Undying soldiers carry. Living warriors might wear ordinary studded leather, but Undying soldiers always wear masterwork medium armor or better, and their weaponry is masterwork as well.
Look, if you're a deathless zombie to guard the Undying Council or the other one that I forget from the beginning, I mean, of course you're going to get the good equipment.
Oh, yeah. Plus, when there's real trouble, they, get their ancestors to go out there. And why wouldn't you when, they're already dead and positive energy only helps them along?
That's true. That's very true. All right. Warforged Titan. Among the first Warforged created during the last war, Titans are a small step forward from the massive, mindless war golems. Warforged Titans are not true living constructs like other Warforged. They are barely sentient, with just enough intelligence to follow changing commands in the heat of battle. Warforged Titans are slow and stupid, but their awesome strength and sheer size makes them fearsome in battle. Warforged Titan has immunity to poison, sleep effects, paralysis, stunning, disease, death effects, necromancy effects, mind-affecting effects, and mind-affecting spells and abilities, and any effect that requires a fortitude save unless it also works on objects or is harmless. It is not subject to extra damage from critical hits, non-lethal damage, or energy drain. All right. And there's a Warforged Titan.
Indeed.
All right. Let's quickly go through the iconic monsters, and we will end it there since clearly we're not going to get through the last chapter.
Oh, really? I could have sworn that you were very much convinced we would.
I hate you.
That's why I'm fired.
That's right.
Iconic monsters. Some iconic D&D monsters have a special place in Eberron. Some are especially common in Corvair, while others have a slightly different role or different abilities on Eberron than on most other worlds. This section looks at these iconic monsters. So, Beholders. Most of the aberrations of Eberron are the creations of Dalkir, the sinister lords of Zoriat. The Beholders are no exception. These horrors were the living artillery of the Dalkir armies, shattering hobgoblin armies with the power of their deadly eyes. When the gatekeepers altered the orbits of the planes, most of the Beholders were driven into Khyber with their creators. Today, the Beholders are solitary, egocentric creatures that have not advanced a culture of their own. Some have remained among the Dalkir and their Dolgaunts, while others have started their own following among the cults of the dragon below. A few have abandoned the path of aggression for philosophy and reflection, These neutral beholders avoid the company of other creatures in favor of solitary meditation. A beholder philosopher may be willing to spare the life of an intruder if he will help the creature by discussing a particularly complex ethical or philosophical question. A few choose to live beneath humanoid communities, and they may manipulate events in these cities, but generally their actions are intended to stimulate and study a particular social, political, or economic situation, as opposed to providing the beholder with power or wealth.
I am an evil monster, but I am going to study philosophy. What?
Yeah, so basically there's 3 different ways a beholder can go in Eberron outside of continuing to just be a living artillery unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not sure I like that one. All right.
Really? It's fun. Quattles.
I was going to say, I'm going to skip the chokers and go to quaddles.
Yes.
Because we need to learn about the beneficial creators of the Silver Flame. Look, I haven't dropped a positive comment about the Silver Flame this entire stream.
Fine.
All right. The Quaddles are an ancient race dating back to the dawn of Eberron. In the Age of Demons, they ruled the land Zendrick. Along with the dragons, they battled the Rakshasa Rajas of Corvair and Sarlona. Ultimately, the Quaddles sacrificed most of their number in order to seal the Rakshasas within their combined souls. Scholars have theorized that this is the ultimate source of the force worshipped by the Church of the Silver Flame. The church ministry is ambivalent about this theory, stating that regardless of how the flame was first kindled, there is a place within the flame for all noble souls. The few Quaddles who remain on Eberron are devoted servants of the light. They are often found guarding the prisons of the ancient Rakshasa Rajas, and when they cannot act directly to aid those heroes fighting the forces of darkness, they may lend their power to these champions using divine channeling.
And, it also helps that they can wish spell at will. Why? Because they're the direct offspring of frickin' Cerberus.
That's true.
Do you want me to do doppelgangers?
Yeah, especially because of the changelings.
Yeah. True doppelgangers are considerably more rare and mysterious than their changeling descendants. While changelings are typically greedy and lazy, using their powers to acquire wealth and comfort within human society, doppelgangers tend to remain in constant motion, acquiring few possessions or friends. Most doppelgangers revere the traveler and seek to emulate the stories of the capricious deity. They sell their services as spies, thieves, and assassins, but their true motivations usually lie beyond mere gold. They may assume more subtle roles, craftsfolk, fortune tellers, priests, or innkeepers, in exchange for goods and stories with adventurers. However, in the tales of the traveler itself, the gifts of a doppelganger, whether material goods, services, or stories, may have strings attached. A doppelganger disguised as a priest might lead a group of adventurers to a dungeon containing a powerful artifact. How will the recovery of this artifact affect the world? There are rumors of a doppelganger society known as the Cabinet of Faces, composed of acolytes of the traveler and other doppelgangers who can tap into the power of the deity through divine channeling. However, the purpose and organization of this cabal remain a mystery.
Dragons believe they are tied to the creation of the world. Most dragons live on the mysterious continent of Arganesson, where they commune with their peers and contemplate the mysteries of the draconic prophecy. They have little interest in or patience with the lesser races, though members of the draconic group known as the Chamber keep watch on those members of the lesser races that possess dragon marks. Dragons come in all alignments. It is as common to encounter a good red dragon as it is an evil gold dragon. Usually, dragons aren't monsters in the typical D&D sense. Heroes won't barge into a dragon's lair looking to plunder its treasure. Instead, dragons are either aloof and unapproachable, or they are curious and manipulative, pulling strings from behind the scenes or trying to influence the world and the prophecy in arcane ways. So sort of like Shadowrun dragons.
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
And I like that. Do we want giants?
Yeah.
Yeah. 80,000 years ago. I'm glad it was just yesterday then. The giants of Zendrik built a civilization that has yet to be equaled in the modern day. Storm giant artificers and wizards created artifacts of incredible power and wondrous places far beyond the skill of the greatest matrites of Corvair. This civilization was shattered 40,000 years ago. Today, a few surviving giants are largely barbarians, living in the glittering ruins of their glorious past.
Okay.
Wonder
I'm
how
just
that
going to read this. What?
I wonder how that happened.
Yeah. I'm just going to read this first section on the goblinoids. We're not going to look at the individual clans. We did that earlier.
Yeah.
Once the hobgoblins possessed a powerful and sophisticated culture, but it was ruined long ago by extraplanar conflict, civil strife, and the invasion of the humans from Sarlona. 4 major goblinoid cultures have arisen from the ashes of the Empire of Dakan. Each has a distinct personality and way of dealing with non-goblinoid races. These 4 cultures are the City Goblinoids, the Galdar, the Dakan, and the Margul clans. Oh, I'm doing the next one.
You bastard. I knew what was coming next.
Lycanthropes. The Church of the Silver Flame has exterminated nearly all the lycanthropes on Corvair. Peace be upon the Silver Flame. The legacy of true lycanthropes now lives on through their descendants, the shifters. Many shifters wisely disassociated themselves from true lycanthropes to avoid the church's wrath, as well they should. A few shifters even helped the Silver Flame hunt down the true lycanthropes. See, they know where their bread is buttered. Since shifters do not spread the curse of lycanthropy, thank goodness, the Silver Flame has mostly left them alone. A few true lycanthropes still exist in Eberron, but they must conceal their existence from the Silver Flame, and they seldom trust shifters enough to associate with them. It is likely that other lycanthropes can still be found in Kyber and on other continents, although the Inspired have performed their own purge of lycanthropes on Sarlona. See? It isn't just the Silver Flame! I regret nothing.
You know, it's kind of funny, right? Because you've got doppelgangers who are like, we see our descendants, the changelings, as being like greedy and lazy pieces of shit. Here's the lycanthropes, like, oh no, those changelings are untrustworthy bastards. Like, why do we even breed and let them happen?
You mean the shifters?
Yeah, shifters, yeah. Like, it's just like, it feels like every time a core race has offspring, they keep looking at them like, we can't trust you at all.
Maybe the lycanthropes just know they're degenerates and they deserve to be exterminated.
Yeah, go back to your Raja, okay?
Tell us about mind flayers.
Well, you don't want to hear about Medusa? You don't want to hear about the Medusas?
Oh, sorry, I was coughing. I said meh, but I mean, I guess unless if you think it's important.
I mean, the only point I will point out is that Medusas in Eberron are also skilled stonemasons, and architects, which has a flair of absolute hilarity to it.
Here, I'm going to stuff this weasel into this crack here. Bzz. All right, it's now fused stone.
All right, mind flayers. Get a hold of yourself, man. Mind flayers. The sinister Illithids are natives of the plane of Zoriat. They serve the Dalkir while simultaneously pursuing their own agendas. Most mind flayers on Eberron have been trapped in Kyber with their masters, commanding cities of Dolgaunts and Dolgrims, and working with the leaders of the cults of the dragon below. In many ways, the Mind Flayers seem more interested in reopening the gates to Zoriat than the Dalkir themselves. The Dalkir are immortal and can afford to wait for another 10,000 years. The Illithids are more concerned with the passage of time. In general, however, the minds of the Illithids are as alien and difficult to understand as those of the Dalkir. Mind Flayers in Eberron campaign have a damage reduction of 5 to Bishik.
Okay. Night Hags, Orcs. The Orcs of Corvair are a fading race. Their population was devastated during the ancient war with the Dalekir and never truly recovered. They can still be found throughout western Corvair and in the Iron Root and Endworld Mountains to the east, but they have no unified empire. The Orcs have always been more spiritual and attuned to nature than their goblinoid cousins. They have always lived as barbarians, embracing the energy and vitality of the wilds. When the Hobgoblins were building the Dakani Empire, the Orcs were learning druidic secrets from the dragon Varrock. The Orc gatekeeper druids managed to sever the connection between Zoriat and Eberron and trap the Dalekir in the depths of Kyber. However, many Orcs have since turned their backs on the old ways and embraced the power of the Dalekir, forming the basis of the modern-day cults of the dragon below. Over the past 7 millennia, a number of conflicts have diminished the Orc population, with the ancient Druid order battling those of their own kind who seek to release the forces trapped in Kyber. The modern Orcs tend to remain in the Shadow Marches and their mountains holds. The Orcs of the Marches have close ties to the human inhabitants of that realm, but avoid dealing with or other races. Orcs are typically deeply religious creatures with little interest in adapting to the modern world. Okay, I was reading this partly because I wanted to try and find a way to work in a joke about tacos. But I like what they did here.
What? You mean you're allowed to, like, have a setting where you change what the race is about? No, you can't do that. What's in the core rulebooks is gospel, don't you know?
No, I never said that.
You didn't say that. The company said that for 5th edition.
Well, anyways, I wasn't even thinking about that. I because we've talked about the half orcs quite a bit because of the mark of finding.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
but this was really interesting. Just the fact that it's like, okay, technically the orcs were the ones that were responsible for trapping the Dalekir, severing the link to Zoriat, but then also like turning on themselves. I wasn't expecting that twist.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they protected Eberron and now are trying to sell it out.
You can't really blame them between what happened to their civilization, their way of life. I mean, the hobgoblins relatively, the Dakani relatively left them alone to be in their areas. But, like, then as soon as the humans arrived, they kind of massacred them, which, you know, probably caused a big rift in how we should be living our lives and whatnot within the various orc societies. And then you're just like, yeah, you can understand why you'd get a growing tension of going from we are the protectors to F
Burn
everyone else.
Yeah. Regardless,
I'm sure you as an American can fully understand that.
That's fair. Regardless, I'm just saying, I think it threw in some twists that I wasn't expecting. I mean, it still gives a good reason to have quote unquote lots of evil orcs. But a little bit better motivation for it. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Tell us about Rakshasas.
Oh, I've been waiting for this one. Rakshasas once dominated Corvair and Salona. Their greatest overlords, the Rajas, were defeated 100,000 years ago by the combined forces of the dragons of Arganessen and the Quarters of Zendrik, to be bound and trapped in Khyber. The servants of these fallen Rajas, Rakshasas, calling themselves the Lords of Dust, scheme in the shadows of Corvair. Some seek to free their imprisoned Rajas, others simply look for a way to gain their master's power for their own.
All right. Sahagin are in the ocean. Be careful.
Yeah, the main takeaway is that they're a little bit more. They actually have their own civilization, down just north of Zendrik. Yeah, and so yeah, for the most part, they kind of do what the Lazar Principality does, where basically if you don't haggle for being allowed to pass through their waters, you're free game to be pirated upon.
Fair enough.
But yeah, the fact that they've got a whole civilization and everything, that's just really cool. They're not just more monsters kind of thing.
Right. Okay. At this point, we've gone over our 2 hours.
Just a little bit.
But yeah, no, this turned out to be a little bit more fun. I'm glad we took the time on it. Even rushing through, still took the time to cover that. Those are like it's some nice twists on monsters. I'm glad that they covered more than just like, you know, the new stuff. But overall, there's a lot of good just lore about the setting in the monster section. So yeah, so folks, make sure you read the monster section if you want to learn more about Eberron. Any final thoughts? Because I am crashing and I need to go take a nap before I go to work.
Yeah. I mean, just that, you know, no matter where you go, who you are, your ancestors always, your descendants will always suck.
That's very true. Yeah, they're never as good as you are.
Exactly.
So, all right, folks. So don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. But next week will be the last deep dive episode for the Eberron campaign setting. We're going to read through their suggestions on how to run an Eberron campaign. And then the next week, possibly 2 weeks after, it all depends on how quickly it goes, Seraphis is going to run a group of us through the Forgotten Forge, which is the first level adventure that's included in the back of the book.
Yeah, I should probably reread that before we get to that, shouldn't we?
Yeah, that's coming up here soon.
Mm.
So, anyways, so we'll do a lot.
If we get close to the end of that, I'll just like TPK the party, and then we won't have to do a second week.
There we go. All right. So anyway, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of that. If you've been enjoying this, there is a link down below to Drive Through RPG where you can at least get PDFs of these books, since they're no longer available in print. Any final thoughts, Seraphis?
I mean, 3.5 lore storytelling. I mean, I still don't like the fact that those card people got the IP for Dungeons and Dragons, but they did fairly well with third edition.
Yeah, I mean
they probably shouldn't have switched to a video game person for 4th edition and then to an editor for 5th edition, but
probably. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't complain a lot about 3rd edition, but that was essentially the edition that I started with. So,
I mean, it is super freaking crunchy, don't get me wrong, but yeah.
Fair enough. So, all right. Well, folks, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Appreciate all of your comments in chat. Hope you all enjoyed this. But with that said, we are going to end it. and we will see you all next week. Thanks, everybody.